I am here with Doug Tucker from Remax Select, and he's here to talk about how COVID-19 is affecting the local market, and more specifically, what he's seeing happen now as opposed to just a few weeks ago when the virus first emerged. Hey, Doug, how's it going?
Hey Nick, good to be here. Yeah, it's been interesting, and I think it's actually better than I thought it would be at this point in time. As far as buyer activity in general, um, we've seen good buyer activity on our listings, and even offers and contracts. So this week we put three properties alone under contract, and um, that's just way better than what I expected. But I will say this: overall, buyer activity is down substantially. In fact, ran some numbers before we got together here, and looking at 2019 April versus 2020 April, we've actually seen the number of actual unit sales reported, new sales reported under contract for all of Morris County, down 51%. So more than half fewer buyers in the market this April than last April. Now that's to be expected. A lot of that is going to be influenced by the initial high fear levels when the pandemic first hit, and then I think every day as we go forward, people are adjusting, and that fear level is going down, and more buyers are likely to come into the market. But the reverse side of that, which is good, is that the number of listings for sale are down almost by the same percentage, right, across Morris County. And therefore, the balance is about the same as it was before the pandemic. So from that perspective, right now, balance between buyers and sellers remains about the same.
Right. Yeah, so what does that mean for me as a home seller?
Right. Here's what I think based on all the data and all of the forecasts that are out there, relying on people who have a lot more data than I have and a lot more expertise than I have in forecasting the market. There is a likelihood that, as that fear level drops down, we're going to see a lot of new inventory come into the market. We should also see more buyers. And now the question is, what's the balance? Does the inventory levels increase by the same rate as the buyers, or does the inventory level increase by a greater rate than the number of the increase to the number of buyers in the market? And that will determine where we go forward. My concern is that the buyers we have now were already in the market before the pandemic hit, right? And they were serious buyers and they were ready to go. As long as their job was not compromised, they're still serious, they're still motivated, they still want to buy, and they may be extra motivated because they had the opportunity to potentially lock in a lower interest rate than they did before. So you have that buyer demand. As we go forward, that buyer demand is going to be driven by really more consumer confidence and where we see this economy go, and how the economy is affected by the COVID-19 crisis. Is if it is severely affected and we go into a longer term recession, then that's going to have negative impact on buyers. Fewer buyers will be in the market, and those buyers that are in the market will be less aggressive. So there is that kind of recession risk on the table that if you're thinking about selling, you might want to take off the table. And the way you take it off the table is by selling sooner rather than later, right? So had two conversations today with clients this morning, both basically asking similar questions. And that was the advice I gave them, which is if you're looking to sell now or a month or two from now, I would say do it now. Do it now because there's less risk. There is good balance between buyers and sellers now. Buyer sentiment is still good. The economy really hasn't, adjusted to which way it's going to go, and nobody knows, right? So we come out of this and things could be right back to where we are, basically the V-shaped recovery that some people think it will be, or if this has longer term impacts on the economy and it turns into a recession, then there's much more downside. So to me, that bet is best case scenario, I win in a V-shaped recovery. I basically get the price I was going to get anyway, right? I just get back to where I was. in a longer downturn, recession type scenario, then further out in time, uh, um, I'm a loser, right? I'm going to sell my house for less money than I could sell it for today. So, given the risk in the market, I think now would be the time to list now versus later.
Yeah, I mean that all seems pretty interesting, and it's definitely good to hear that there are buyers still buying, that there are sellers still selling, and the ratio between them hasn't really changed much, although it is a little bit lesser. Um, but moving forward, it's good to hear that the market's still functioning as you're laying it out. But other than that, anything else you have to say, Doug?
No, not really. I mean, it's a very fluid situation. So, things are changing rapidly. So we're going to be putting out these video updates every 2 weeks to keep people updated. So I would just suggest to people to check back in every couple of weeks so we can let you know, how things are changing over time. And certainly, if anybody has a need to sell or buy or have questions about the market in the meantime, reach out to us directly, and we're happy to talk to you on a one-on-one basis. Um, and that's about it for now.
All right, well, thanks, Doug, and we'll see everybody in 2 weeks.